So Mullen just went boom, and there seems to be several catalysts at work right now. Hi again, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. If you're in Mullen, today was a better day. Obviously, the stock climbed by about 70% and continued some of that trend in the aftermarket. This was basically on the news. The main catalyst driving the stock up anyway was perhaps the fact that Mullen has engaged legal services to go after, or not go after, but to investigate the happenings around naked shorting, which is obviously illegal and can lead to the manipulation of stock prices. So, we are seeing, this is an interesting play in stocks. We have seen it with a couple of other businesses earlier this year. Two that I kind of looked at earlier in the year were Genius Group and Hellbiz, which is now rebranded. Hellbiz wasn't as interesting to look at as the Genius Group example, but when Genius Group was basically the first company to do it, and when they announced that they were going after naked shorts, their stock actually 20x'd. It went from about 30 cents a share to up around the $6 mark. It has tapered off since then in the interim. The stock is still up by over 100% this year, but there's definitely a sign that it is on a downward trajectory. So, if that's anything to go by, we could still be in for a bit more of a bump with Mullen Automotive. I think Mullen Automotive actually has a few arguments in favor of it against Genius Group. Genius Group did certain things which really gave many little sugar rushes to the stock. Some of them very, very sort of artificial sort of things. Like they would give dividends in the form of a crypto token, which could be used to redeem against buy their products. So it encouraged people who wanted to use Genius Group services to buy into the stock, and they could get a discount on whatever courses they wanted to sell or buy. Where Mullen Automotive is a little bit different. It's more of a, obviously, production company. It's not based on intangible products. And, there's a bigger thing. So Mullen Automotive also has a lot more cash in the bank than Genius Group did. And, they weren't, both companies weren't in terrible health financially, but different sort of stories to get there, and obviously different contexts. So whether or not Mullen 20x's from here will be nice to see the stock up to $2, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I do think there's possibly still some momentum there. Other than the legal challenge, there was actually some other stuff which I think is actually driving Mullen stocks up as well. Now, one of the things I spoke about this in a video on the company, but on Monday, the shortened day of trade, Rivian announced really good numbers in terms of factory output and vehicle deliveries, beating analyst expectations, and sort of set itself up to say that it's on a trajectory to basically outperform what had been expected by analysts this year by producing, I think, over 50,000 vehicles. That was the plan. And if you look at the weekend before, the numbers that came out from Tesla were also very strong. They were at the top end of analyst expectations. And so, the good news here is these two stocks gave a lot of buoyancy to EV companies on Monday. However, that didn't transfer through to Mullen Automotive. And now, arguably, Mullen Automotive is one of the companies probably in a good situation to actually have a bit of a turnaround. They were at a all-time low. They're about to start production. It looks like there's a lot of green lights, a lot of hurdles which had been before the company had been navigated. Yes, there are challenges still up ahead, but there was a bit of a clear path there for Mullen Automotive, and they didn't catch on that wider EV wave. So I think we're seeing a bit of momentum trickle through there. And I think with the Rivian story, there is a bit of a story there for Mullen Automotive, that being that like a lot of EV companies have been beaten down over the years since having that big EV bubble and that big rush to those stocks. But for investors who are dollar cost averaging down for Rivian, periodically, obviously that was quite a risky thing to do. There was no saying that the company was going to totally turn around, but they were ones who were starting to see a bit of a benefit. And I think there's a bit of a story there for other EV companies, and including Mullen, that if you believe in what the business is doing, if you still see it as having a bright future, and you have been dollar cost averaging, hopefully, and I can't obviously advise this, hopefully your day in the sun is going to be coming very soon. Now, this kind of scuttled my plan a little bit because I was obviously looking to buy more of the stock back when it fell below 10 cents. I expect it to go back below 10 cents, but the PR army has like kind of pumped the stock up a little bit, which is quite pleasing. But I've kind of, I haven't put any more money in yet. I'm still just waiting to see where things go, because obviously there are some other challenges still to navigate. Now, obviously, the other subplot going on with Mullen as of yesterday is that Lawrence Hodge is being a bit more vocal about the company and what's going on with his technology. Now, I kind of speculate that perhaps he was going after me because of a couple of videos I made, which were kind of poking a bit of fun at him, but they were meant in jest. Obviously, I don't think I was the intention of his video, now that I've seen what's come out. But basically, as I went through in a video yesterday, there was a big hit piece came out on Lawrence Hodge, and it basically really tried to bury him as like a sort of shady business dealing. And I think obviously that publication had reached out to Lawrence Hodge to get a comment, but nothing had been said. And so they ran the piece with what they wrote, and it was pretty, they're basically accusing him of embezzlement and bragging about it. It's, I don't really know. I don't want to go into that sort of area. Yeah, it's kind of, the past. You should judge people about what they're doing today. People make mistakes in the past. I don't know how much truth is to that story. I'm not that across it, but yeah, that's the other kind of subplot, which I thought might have actually had a dragging effect on the stock, but it didn't. And yeah, so the good news was we saw a lot of momentum return to the stock. I think it was the most traded day the stock has had in a very long time. The volume was huge. It was almost 1 billion shares exchanged, I think. So that was huge. And there's a lot of momentum there with the stock. So I'm not going to be surprised if we see a bit of this spill over into Thursday's trade, but you never know really with Mullen Automotive. But yeah, anyway, where do you think this is all going with Mullen Automotive? We've obviously got some good things on the horizon, production, investigating naked shorting, so there's a bit of positive momentum to, at least in the interim, switch the stock back around. Do you think it's going to be enough to get it back above the $1 mark, dare I say it? Or do you think we're still kind of down the line somewhere we're going to have to go through another tough reverse split? Share it all in the comments below. Till next time, everyone, may the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.